Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the daily cricket show, Cricket Happenings. And on this Cricket Happening show, well, as you know, three matches. So it's going to be three match summaries and also some live cricket updates that I'm going to give you. So first, I'm going to start off. First, we'll go to the live to Basin Reserve in Wellington, where right now the South Africans are doing well. In fact, South Africans were in real trouble yesterday, but that partnership that happened between Quinton de Kock, who got over that problems that he had with Jeetan Patel and also played in a very crisp manner. As he started, Quinton de Kock is such a person who really likes to play his strokes, and he was the one who rescued them from a very low total. They were 126 for 6 at one stage, and then it was the rallying partnership which probably was adding more than 150 runs between Tenda Bavuma and de Kock. It was actually worth 160 runs exactly, and both missed their centuries. 91 from Quinton de Kock, that would give them a lot of hope. And what a rally South Africa did with that partnership between Tenda Bavuma, who also got himself into some real good form with a very, very useful knock. As at one time one thought that South Africa will be conceding the lead to New Zealand, and it was all turned topsy-turvy by this partnership between Tenda Bavuma and Quinton de Kock, as they added 160 runs, and South Africa posted 359 on the board, with some very good support coming in from the tailenders as well, Morne Markel and the other players. And South Africa 359, they took a lead of 91 runs, and currently when I'm speaking to you from looking at the Basin Reserve in Wellington here, the New Zealand on day 3, and we are in session 1 right now, and the score reads 55 for 2. They already lost 2 wickets, and both the wickets have gone to Morne Markel. Morne Markel has picked up 2 wickets today. He picked up, and what a delivery he bowled to get rid of Kane Williamson, a big wicket for them. So Kane Williamson failing in this match big time, and currently as I'm talking, New Zealand are 55 for 2, and they are New Zealand still trailed by 36 runs, the South Africans, and the New Zealand are trailing by 36 runs to as far as the lead is concerned. And right now when I'm talking to you, Jeet Raval is 21, Neil Broom has got over his early troubles, he's not out on 23 boundaries. We'll come back to that, as we'll revisit that as I'm doing my cricket summary. But the next match that I'll be talking about is the match between India and Australia. So India and Australia, the eyes were fixed on seeing whether Glenn Maxwell, who had done all the hard work on the previous day, that is on the first day, could do something here, and he definitely did. And this is the first time that Glenn Maxwell scored a century in Test match. It was his maiden century. Well, Smith was like a rock. I mean, nothing could dislodge him, and Smith just rode on in his merry fashion, as he contributed an unbeaten 178 with 17 boundaries. But Glenn Maxwell, what a knock from him, a very, very timely knock, and it's his maiden Test ton after coming into Test matches, probably after a gap of 2.5 to 3 years. And not only that, what Glenn Maxwell did is he curbed his natural instincts to actually stroke the ball, and decided to spend his time at the crease. And look at the returns, 104 on his board, and also this particular partnership really helped matters for Australia, as Australia were all out for 451. And the Indian openers, they lost KL Rahul, who looked pretty good. I mean, he was the one who was really careening along, I would say, to 67, but Cummins picked up his wicket, and India at close of play on the second day, they were placed at 120 for 1. So we will look at that as well. And Ravindra Jadeja on a pitch, I wouldn't say giving much assistance, so basically it was a placid pitch, and Ravindra Jadeja definitely doing a very good one for himself, as he picked up a 5-wicket bag for 124 runs. As far as the other match is concerned, between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, this landmark Test match definitely going the Bangladesh way right now as I'm speaking, because we are talking about day 3, and day 3 the Bangladeshis put up a strong response as for the first time they in an away match. It's the second time that they are taking the lead, as they took a 129 runs lead in the first innings. It was thanks to Shakib Al Hasan getting on to his 5th test century, 116 with 10 boundaries. Mushfiqur Rahim was out for 52, but that young bloke Musharraf Hussain in the landmark test match in which he made his test debut, one felt very sorry for him that there was a sort of a rush of blood for him, or otherwise he would have probably gone on to a century. What a partnership! I mean, what support he offered to Shakib Al Hasan in that partnership, and that was the reason this Bangladesh could actually take lead of 129. So Musharraf Hussain on his debut, very impressive, and making 75, very impressive knock from this 21-year-old bloke Musharraf Hussain, and also there were 467 all out, and four wickets went to Herat and Lakshan Sandakan, and Sri Lanka just managed to wipe off 54 of the lead here. They were 54 for no loss, but they still have a lot of work to do. So Bangladesh definitely taking the honours there on the 3rd day. So I'll come back to that. But first and foremost, I'm going to start off with this match between India and Australia. So the situation was that Glenn Maxwell and Stephen Smith were continuing their work that they were doing yesterday, as they continued to defy the Indian bowlers very well, and Glenn Maxwell definitely eyeing a century. And finally, there was not much of a celebration from Glenn Maxwell. The only thing that he did is he hugged Stephen Smith very, very tightly, and Glenn Maxwell probably thanking Stephen Smith for actually nurturing him through that and telling him not to really attempt any rash strokes. And Maxwell actually did it perfectly, and Maxwell definitely deserved some kudos for that. As from 140 for 4, this was a partnership which added a very, very valuable runs. In fact, 191 runs partnership for the 5th wicket, and Jadeja was the one who picked up the wicket of Maxwell, caught Saha, bowled Jadeja for 104. Matthew Wade was done in by Jadeja with a good delivery, which turned, and he was caught by Saha for 37 with 6 boundaries. Cummins knew nothing about the delivery from Jadeja, for which he was clean bowled for a duck. Steve O'Keefe contributing 25 with 5 boundaries, victim of Yadav, and Nathan Lyon was one, and it was all wrapped up by Jadeja, as Jadeja picked up a 5-wicket bag here, 49.3 overs, 8 maidens, 124 runs and 5 wickets. But Stephen Smith was the one who was absolutely is someone unshakable. This innings of his, it was an unshakable innings from Stephen Smith. He continued, and finally when this Australian innings ended, his score stood on 178 not out with 17 boundaries. And what a knock from Stephen Smith here. So 451 all out. The bowling, as I said, Ravindra Jadeja definitely the star, and definitely Ravindra Jadeja deserves a lot of credit, because on a pitch which was placid, Ravindra Jadeja has done a very good job of taking 5-wicket back here, 5 wickets for 124, 3 wickets for Umesh Yadav, 1 to Ravichandran Ashwin. As far as India were concerned, India started off with KL Rahul and Murli Vijay opening the innings, and the partnership really started blossoming thanks to KL Rahul deciding to play his strokes. One also had a look at Cummins. Cummins definitely showed it was very good to see the way Stephen Smith, the Aussie captain, was handling Cummins, because he didn't want him to be burnt out being a genuine pace bowler. He gave him a short spell, a short burst of 4 overs, and brought him back. And I thought he did a wonderful. In fact, I would say he was the pick of the bowlers yesterday in that short span that India were in of 40 overs, as India closed at 120 for 1. But Cummins, let me tell you, 10 overs on maiden, 1 for 22. Very impressive bowling figures. In fact, KL Rahul was looking pretty organized at the crease. And as you know, in this series, one has seen that KL Rahul has definitely got his mojo back now, and he's really striking well. And he was the one who was very dominant in that partnership that happened between Murali Vijay and KL Rahul. Murali Vijay was the sitting partner there, but KL Rahul was the stroking partner, and he was stroking the ball beautifully and sweetly as runs were coming in very thick and fast for KL Rahul, which was keeping this Indian score really moving as KL Rahul and Murali Vijay continued. And also the spinners, we saw KL Rahul using his feet very well to the spin of Steve O'Keefe and Nathan Lyon, that by not allowing them to really pitch the ball and allow the ball to turn. So that was good to see. And Murali Vijay was just chiseling out an innings at that stage. But after that, we saw Stephen Smith actually bring back Cummins for his second spell, and KL Rahul beautifully flicked him through his legs for one boundary, and that probably got in Cummins' mind, and Cummins a bit riled there after KL Rahul flicking the ball and Cummins having a stare at KL Rahul, and KL Rahul also doing the same, and in the process Cummins' next delivery was a wicket-taking delivery. The first ball was stroked for a beautiful boundary by KL Rahul, but the second delivery, what a smart move by Cummins. Cummins probably realizing that KL Rahul is trying to get the wood over him, he decided to slip in a slower bouncer, and it was very well bowled, and in the process the ball actually rose, and KL Rahul was taken by surprise, and he fended the delivery, and it was Wade, actually the ball taking the glove of KL Rahul and settling down in Wade's hands behind the stumps. But a very good knock from KL Rahul, 67 with 9 very good boundaries. After that, Murali Vijay was there in the center, and Cheteshwar Pujara joined him, and Cheteshwar Pujara played one exquisite stroke for boundary, and Murali Vijay definitely once KL Rahul was gone, he decided to take over, and after when stumps were drawn for the day on day 2, the Indian score stood at 120 for 1. Murali Vijay was not out on 42 with 6 boundaries. Cheteshwar Pujara was not out on 10 with 1 boundary, and still India have a lot of work to do, but the pitch, as I say, is playing easy. It's a good batting pitch. And the bowling, Hazelwood 9 overs 2 minutes, none for 25. Cummins, I thought, was the pick of the bowlers, 10 overs 1 minute, 1 for 22. What was good about Patrick Cummins was that it was not about genuine pace. With that genuine pace, what was good and very refreshing to see is that how he was actually controlling. He was bowling the right lines, and that is very important for a fast bowler. Being pacey is always good, but also to control your line is not the most easiest thing to do when you're quite pacey, but Cummins did it beautifully, and that is good to see. Steve O'Keefe, 10 overs 3 minutes, none for 30. Nathan Lyon was wicketless as well, but his 11 overs costing 42 runs. So that is as far as India versus Australia is concerned. Now the next match, and in the meanwhile, let me see what's happening at the Basin Reserve here. Well, as I'm talking to you at the Basin Reserve, I don't see anything happening. It is a very slow progress right now. The score still stays at 55-2. I'll come back to that later. And in the meanwhile, looking at this landmark test match between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, where Bangladesh were actually replying to the total, and Bangladesh resuming on their overnight score with Mushfiqur Rahim and Shakib Al Hasan in the crease. But it was the first wicket to go was Mushfiqur Rahim, where Surangal Akmal beautifully bowled a delivery which went through the gate of Mushfiqur Rahim to knock off his stumps, and he was gone for 52, 6 boundaries. But Shakib Al Hasan was doing very well. And good thing about Shakib Al Hasan, after Mushfiqur Rahim fell with the Bangladesh score on 290, one thought, Shakib Al Hasan was the only one, but Shakib Al Hasan caught a very, very able alley, and that test debutant Mossadegh Hussain, and one also came to know as to why this young 21-year-old was selected ahead of Mahmudullah, was an experienced guy, and he really proved it by really playing some very good drives, and he was looking and he showed good match temperament. He had good guidance from one of the experienced blokes in the Bangladesh team at the other end, Shakib al Hasan, who nurtured him through, and both started stitching together a very good partnership. Even though Mushfiqur was gone with the Bangladesh score reading 290 for 6, in the company with Shakib al Hasan and Mossadegh Hussain, both actually took Bangladesh past the Sri Lankan total of 338 and then put them into the driver's seat with the lead really growing, as from 290 for 6 the score went on to 421 thanks to this partnership, and Mossadegh Hussain would be very happy with the way he played. And Shakib al Hasan in the meanwhile reached his 5th test century, which was good to see. And then finally, after making 100, but what is good to see is that Shakib al Hasan, as you know, he has been guilty of throwing his wicket away against England, against New Zealand, but this time Shakib al Hasan made sure that he is not going to commit the same mistakes, and that was very good to see, as Shakib al Hasan made sure that he will be there to actually take this Bangladesh innings through, and he contributed 116 with 10 boundaries before Sandakan picked up his wicket when Shakib al Hasan was forced to actually use his feet, and in the process was caught by Chandimal. But what a very good knock from him, from Shakib al Hasan. And Mossadegh Hussain carried on. He was still there, but he had only the company of the tailenders. But Mehdi Hasan Miraz, as you know, he has already shown that he could be a good bat as well. So he gave him company, and Mehdi Hasan Miraz made 24 with 2 boundaries before Herath actually had him LBW. But Mossadegh Hussain was doing his job, and once Mehdi Hasan Miraz was gone, Mossadegh Hussain tried to attempt a few strokes, which was really justified. He actually wanted to actually punish Herath. He wanted to actually deposit Herath into the stands, and in the process he missed the ball, and Niroshan Dikwala did a smart stumping, but not before Mossadegh Hussain contributed. He got his maiden 50 on his test debut. So well done, Mossadegh Hussain. He contributed 75 with 7 fours and 2 sixes. And Mustafizur Rahman's LBW bowled Herath for not. Subhash Roy not out not. And finally, this Bangladeshi innings coming to an end with Bangladesh taking 129 runs lead as they were all out for 467. And this is the second time in an away match that they have actually taken the lead. The bowling, the wickets were shared. In fact, Rangana, Herath and Sandakan were the bowlers who actually shared the spoils there. They got 4 wickets each, and Lakmal got 2 wickets. As far as the Sri Lankan second innings was concerned, they had 13 overs to play before close of play, and both Karunaratne, definitely searching for form here, decided to really ground himself in, as he contributed 25 unbeaten runs with 3 boundaries. Upal Taranga was also looking good, not out on 25, 3 boundaries, as Sri Lanka closed the day at 54 for no loss. And so right now they still have, they still trail by 75 runs. So day 3, that's the match situation. But the pitch the pitch is a slow pitch actually. So it still depends on how the match pans out on the 4th day, because Sri Lanka have all their batting to come, and once they actually wipe off the lead, they have to really get some runs. But Bangladesh would be the ones who will be batting last, so that is something that Sri Lanka will be happy about. Now the bowling, Subhash Roy 5 overs, none for 13, Mehdi Hasan none for 20. Mustafizur very surprisingly bowled only 1 over for 6 runs, and Mossadegh Hussain also on his debut, he bowled 1 over for 5. Well, we'll come back to that later. In the meanwhile, let's look at the New Zealand card, just to see, just wanting to see this particular position, in the sense the New Zealand, the basin reserve, as I said, it was a nice rear guard action. As I said, South Africa were in real trouble at one stage, where the score read 94 for 6 when du Plessis' wicket was claimed, and it was a very sorry situation for South Africa. And look at what happened. Quinton de Kock, who has been struggling in this test series, coming good at the right time by really taking the attack to the opposition, and as he normally does, he played his natural instinct game, which is to attack the bowlers and it was good to see. He brought off some very good pull shots against the pace bowlers to actually punish them for sixes, and his driving was impeccable, and he was also very good against the spin as well. Tenda Bowma, on the other hand, started playing himself into some good form after a long time, which is good to see, and this partnership kept on going, and at a time when probably New Zealand would have expected that they could take the lead, it was all absolutely quashed by this 100 and a brilliant partnership, I would say, from 94 for 6. The score was taken to, it was 160 run partnership that happened between Quinton de Kock and Tenda Bowma. Tenda Bowma also played very well, and Tenda Bowma's contribution was 89 with 9 boundaries, and he was very good on either side of the wicket. He was stroking the ball very firmly on either side of the wicket, and he was showing good technique against the bowlers as well, meeting the ball with the full face of the bat, which was good to see. Quinton de Kock did a fine job of scoring 91 with 10 fours and 3 sixes, and after that also even the tailenders proved very difficult to dislodge. I wouldn't call Vernon Philander a tailender, but Vernon Philander's contribution was unbeaten, 37 5 boundaries. Keshav Maharaj was out for 1, but Morne Morkel collected his highest score in Test cricket as he contributed 40 with 7 boundaries, and 359 was the final tally for South Africa, thus giving them a very good lead. It was a handy lead, I would say, 91 run lead, and the bowling, Tim Southee had 2 wickets, Grandholm 3, who was the best of the bowlers. Neil Wagner had 3 wickets, and 1 wicket apiece to Patel and Neesham. And New Zealand, while I'm talking to you right now, the score reached 55 for 2. As I said, Morne Morkel is the one who had provided the breakthrough, getting rid of the opener Tom. So Tom Latham is definitely into his horror form of this series here. He was dismissed for 6 today, and Kane Williamson, what a peach of a delivery from Morne Morkel, which just took the faint edge of Kane Williamson's bat and snuggled rested snugly into the gloves of Quinton de Kock for 1. And right now, as I'm talking, the New Zealand second innings, they're 55 for 2. Ravel is not out 21 with 3 boundaries. Broom is not out on 20. And one thinks it's lunchtime right now here at, yes, it's lunch day 3. And they are 55 for 2. New Zealand still have 36 runs to make South Africa bat again. So New Zealand have a real task, but Broom and Ravel so far are slowly, I would say, they are sliding in well right now. But again, it remains to be seen what really comes up after lunchtime. But we have also seen that after lunchtime, the pitch also does not play any truants. It starts behaving in a very good manner, and this is what the trend has been. So probably New Zealand will be hoping that their players can make some runs here. Thanks for your company, and thanks for watching Cricket Happenings with this live cricket update coming in from the Basins Reserve in Wellington, where New Zealand are 55 for 2, still trailing by 36 runs. I'll be back with you tomorrow with my Cricket Happenings show. Till such time, it's good night.